Hey, are you a good healer or you want to become a good healer, an excellent healer? Stick around. I'm going to tell you the four elements that I feel is required to become a good healer. I've been healing since January 2013. So it's been a good, 12 years now. So I've definitely learned a lot in my time as a healer, becoming even more myself, but also helping my customers. So for those of you who are kind of wanting to check where you're at on your journey into becoming a really good healer, or if you want to train to become a good healer, stick around because I will be announcing the launch of my healer training program soon. So if you want to be alerted to join the list for that, stick around. I will include it in this video. Okay, so let's talk about what I feel are the elements to become a good healer or therapist. So I've got some notes here. The first one I would say is the most important one. I think it's being humble, right? Because when we have these incredible experiences of self-healing or healing others, we can become a little bit over optimistic or over enthusiastic about our own healing abilities, and that's okay in certain circumstances. But in terms of humbleness, I would say keep checking with yourself as to what your possibilities and what your limitations are as a healer. So avoid trying to overpromise or overdeliver what you can't promise and deliver, right? Because otherwise you're just going to end up disappointing your customers and setting yourself up for potential failure, right? The other thing about being humble is you need to be okay to learn from your mistakes. Make mistakes. It's okay. Mistakes teach us something about ourselves that we need to go deeper with or learn more about. That's okay. Learn from your mistakes. And I think the final thing about being humble is, do you have the ability to apologize when you've made a mistake? You don't always have to portray this figure as the perfect healer, the perfect therapist. We are humans, right? So and nobody is perfect. And actually, it might be really great for your customer to hear you sort of acknowledging a slight mistake that you've made, because maybe the customer has never had somebody apologize to them for a mistake that's been done to them. So when you can do that, they can develop more trust with you and also take you off your pedestal so they get to see you as a real human being, right? Because they need to remember to inhabit their own power, right? And acknowledge themselves. Most people are very demeaning towards themselves. So it is themselves that they need to really start to, acknowledge, build their self esteem. Okay, second thing is you want to continue your personal development. And because if you don't do that, if you don't do your own regular self healing, you don't, you know, on fairly regular intervals, do some new training or go back to your basic training to review it, then you're not really moving forward or expanding your abilities. And a subsection of that is, I would say, also train across multiple dimensions. So there are some people who are kind of very niched into like specific spiritual healing or psychic surgery, and that is fine to be in your own niche. I would also recommend that you expand to develop also emotional and mental healing, because most of us who've incarnated on this planet have at one point or another experienced trauma in our lives. And if we don't resolve our own inner trauma healing, then that can affect how we show up. for our clients, for our customers. And especially when spiritual bypassing is so rife in the spiritual community, you bet you need to be fully able to be present for yourself emotionally, and that means you can show up for your customer fully emotionally. Third thing, the ability to be empathetic. You might think this is a strange thing to remind people to be with customers. Uh, but the thing is, you've got to remember our customers, our clients, they need to feel safe. If you are, criticizing them, judging them in some way, they may feel very unsafe and uncomfortable and not be able to open up to you, not be able to trust you. Now, the other spectrum of empathy is there may be situations where you need to be a little less empathetic and maybe a bit more boundary. And so you may show up a little bit more assertive rather than empathetic. It really depends on the scenario. And you will learn through time how, in what situations you need to show up for people. Because sometimes people need more structure, more healthy boundaries. So the fourth thing is you really know how to do a proper assessment on a customer to identify the root cause issue of their problems. And I notice from people who've come to me, for help, is they've often been to 10, 15, 20 different healers beforehand. And I've asked them, did they do an assessment? Most of them did not. Did not. So, doing assessments is important. A, because it helps you to identify, okay, can I actually help this person or not? Or are there other issues going on that are a bit beyond me? Maybe I need to refer them to a more appropriate person. And secondly, you need to do something called dimensional mapping. I'm going to cover this in a separate video to this. Basically, it's where you identify the deepest root cause issue at whatever dimension it's at. And if your capacities don't match that dimension, that ability to kind of resolve things at that dimension, then maybe you need to do a bit more work on yourself. But if you identify, yes, you know what dimension it's at, you know what's happening, is it present life, past life issue, then great, go for it. Offer the customer the opportunity to get their issue resolved. Okay, I hope you found these suggestions useful if you're an existing healer and maybe you've got some extra thoughts of your own that you want to add to this. Hey, I welcome comments and open for discussion. If you are somebody who wants to become a healing therapist, then I invite you to subscribe to my free energy healing session. The link for that is running down below. That will also add you to my newsletter list, where I will be making the announcement of the healer training program, which I'm going to be running shortly. That's it. I hope you enjoyed yourselves. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now. Bye.